Chapter 4 is about social interaction. What does that mean? It means how people relate to each other, how they talk to each other, how they get to know each other. Anything that they do together is called social interaction. And they do this according to certain kinds of procedures culturally that have been established. One of the things that affects how people interact is status, about who you are and how other people see you. There are a couple of different kinds of status. One is ascribed, and that means what you're born with. I mean, if you're born a queen or a king, then people are going to treat you in a certain way. Others are achieved status. This is what you make of yourself, what you do, the kind of work that you choose to go to school for and learn how to perform in adult life. That gives you a certain kind of status. Doctors have a certain kind of status. That means that people regard doctors very, very highly. They regard lawyers very, very highly, too, that kind of thing. There is a thing that you should know about status, and that is that there are expectations of how people should behave once they have that status. Doctors are supposed to be people who behave in a particular way, and people respect them, so they can't indulge in too much tomfoolery and get away with it. They've got to be dignified. Got to be authoritative so that they build confidence in the people that come to them for help. That's their role. That's what they perform, just like a role in the movies or a role in a play. You play roles according to your status. Sometimes roles conflict. Sometimes your job, what you do, conflicts with being, a parent, perhaps. There are parental roles that have to be fulfilled, and sometimes your work takes you away from raising your kids, and that can cause a lot of trouble in households. Then you have to know that there are ways of building all of this interaction into a conception of reality, of the way the world works. For example, there is such a thing as street smarts that your book focuses on, in which people learn how to get along without necessarily going to school, but they can solve problems. They can figure out how to get cash if they don't have any. And not all the ways are perfectly socially acceptable, but they may be effective. And those are called street smarts, how you get along, how you do things. And these are people who build the reality around them. There are some consequences of building reality, of constructing it, which we all do, just as your mother and father can shape the character of your household, and your brothers and sisters do. You build the reality of your home. So people can build the reality of many other things in society. But there is something attached to this business of building reality. Reality is a flexible thing, which can be constructed, of course, except that there are consequences of it. It is not all simply fuzzy and vague, just a matter of imagery and something that's temporary. Anything that you do to construct reality produces consequences. There's a theorem developed by a man named Thomas called the Thomas theorem that says that even though the reality you construct may be regarded by you as tentative, there are consequences of it. You pretend to hold up a bank and you go in there with a gun, my God, you might get yourself shot. There are consequences of acting those things out, whether you mean them or not. There are ways of studying how we react in reality. One of them is called ethno-methodology. That means ethno as in ethnicity. It means you go into the group and you study how they develop the sense of reality that they have. That means that you try to pay attention to things that people do very, very carefully, very in considerable detail. As your book says, if somebody says to you, "How are you?" and you really took them seriously in terms of ethno-methodology, and you began to answer in detail that took an hour and a half to explain how you are, they aren't going to listen to you. So the way that people say, "How are you?" it usually means, in our culture, they don't really mean, "How are you?" They just want to know that they've told you that they are concerned about you and they're saying hello. There is such a thing as a dramaturgical analysis, which is mentioned in your text, and dramaturgical analysis is almost what it sounds like. It has to do with drama. And all of us behave in life as though we're on stage. There are times when we're up front stage and we act our best. And there are times when we relax and kick our shoes off and behave differently and informally. So these are kind of performances that we carry on. And in dramaturgical analysis, people try to figure out whether you're up front stage and why, or whether you're backstage and why. So there are different kinds of ways of interacting. Some of the methods of interacting have to do with nonverbal communications. Your book tells you several examples of how you can communicate with facial gestures, body position, the way you use your eyes, the way your body is postured, and what you tell people by those things. And you also should know that all the elements of interaction that are important, and some of them involve emotions and how you look, how you feel, how loud you are when you talk, whether your face carries the idea that you wish to convey of dissatisfaction or frustration or anger. Those all play a role in communicating to others and interacting with them. Language does too. Language is, of course, extremely powerful. There are words that make people very angry if you use them. There are words that are soothing and comforting. And you should know that humor also plays a role in life. People learn to laugh, and usually humor is employed as a way of diffusing social situations, of making a tense situation somewhat more relaxed and getting people to relax a little bit and to behave in a way that is much more friendly and cordial. So humor plays a role too in the construction of reality and the making of reality. Those are some of the characteristics of social interaction that are mentioned in the chapter. I hope again that you have some fun with it, and I look forward to our discussion.